Chapter 9 Manhattan, Spring 1978. Things have changed for Donald Trump. Yes, they have. Now age 32, he has been president of the Trump Organization for almost 7 years. That's a long time. The company has moved its headquarters into Manhattan from Queens, even though company chairman Fred Trump prefers to remain in the outer boroughs, overseeing the 14,000 apartments the Trumps currently own in Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. We own a large amount of property. Donald Trump is content to let his father and younger brother, Robert, now in the family business as well, sweat the small stuff. Go ahead, sweat the small stuff. I don't care. Donald wants the big stuff. And I mean big stuff. We're talking green giant big. And has finally latched onto a piece of it. New York City is in the midst of its most permissive era since the Roaring '20s. Studio 54 and a bunch of other discos are packed most nights, fueled by cocaine and lust. Sabarites such as Andy Warhol, Truman Capote, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Capote, and their crews smirk in photos that dominate the city's tabloid newspapers. Life is good for the party people, and also for the street criminals. Times Square is Sodom, a seedy marketplace where vice and petty crime go largely unchecked. And that's a bad thing. But lawbreaking is a contagion that, once ignored, moves quickly into the extreme. In 1978, there will be nearly 150,000 violent acts committed in New York City, including more than 1,800 murders and 5,200 rapes. By contrast, there were fewer than 300 murders reported in 2018 New York City, 40 years later. The city is also broke, trying to dig out from a fiscal crisis that has been going on for years. In 1975, New York City officials asked the federal government to provide funding in order to avoid the embarrassment of bankruptcy. And bankruptcy really is embarrassing, I'll tell you that much. President Gerald Ford said absolutely not, a decision that led to one of the most infamous newspaper headlines in history. The New York Daily News on October 30th, 1975, Ford to City, drop dead. Pretty harsh. In the face of the chaos, Ed Koch, a flamboyant politician who will come to despise Donald Trump, screw you, has just been sworn in that January as mayor, winning 50% of the vote, more than 9 points ahead of his liberal opponent, Mario Cuomo. Koch ran on a promise to clean up the city, making it great again, if you will. Don't you steal my slogan! But Mayor Koch and the other politicians who run New York well understand that little will change unless high-end developers begin investing in new businesses and buildings. The city needs to be revitalized economically, and only private sector money can do it. That's right. The powerful billionaire, Harry Helmsley, and his vicious second wife, Leona, are already acquiring properties in Midtown at bargain prices. With new construction and facilities come jobs and the increased business tourism the city desperately needs. Still on the outside looking in, Donald Trump knows this. I sure do. The Commodore Hotel on 42nd Street is just a few blocks away from Times Square and abuts the heavily used Grand Central Station. The hotel is a squalid mess, with dingy, dimly lit hallways and rats infesting its foundation. Disgusting. Built before 1920, the Commodore was owned by the bankrupt Penn Central Railroad. Sensing a distress sale, Donald Trump convinces his father to arrange a series of city tax abatements in order to buy the Commodore and some other Penn Central property near the Hudson River. I know a great deal when I see one. Fred Trump, still smarting over the civil rights beef in 1973, agrees and becomes the silent partner in a deal that will eventually total $80 million. That's a lot of money. Times had indeed changed in Jamaica Estates, Queens. Donald Trump quickly allies with the Hyatt Hotel Company to turn the Commodore into the Grand Hyatt Hotel. And grand it will be, with Trump demanding every modern convenience and design. I want only the best. I will not settle for anything less. The rats are confused. Now on a roll, the wheeler-dealer Trump sells his other Penn Central land acquisition to New York City. The land will be used to build the Jacob K. Javits Convention Center, a project the city hopes will bring in billions in new revenue. Oh, yes, it will. Donald wants the new building named after his father, but the city balks. Why am I not surprised? However, the Trumps make millions on the hotel and land transactions, establishing Donald as a power player in New York. Yes, indeed. Helping Donald with the Grand Hyatt construction is his new wife, Ivana Zelnikova, a Czech national who had immigrated to Canada to escape communism. Ah, Ivana. Thank you for a trip down memory lane. Good times, good times. Tall and blonde, Ivana is a model, designer, and competitive skier who has her eye on the good life in America. She was amazing. She finds it, at least temporarily. In 1976, Ivana met Donald Trump at Maxwell's Plum, a singles bar on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. The courtship was relatively quick, and the two were married the next year in a lavish ceremony at Manhattan's Marble Collegiate Church. Norman Vincent Peale officiated. Attending the wedding was Abe Beame, then the mayor of New York City. Beame, one of the worst mayors in the city's history, was a longtime associate of Fred Trump. In the late 1940s and throughout the 50s, the diminutive Abe pretty much ran the Democratic political machine in Brooklyn. Along with Fred's friend and fixer, Bunny Lindenbaum, Beame set the Trump business up with excellent real estate opportunities at heavily discounted prices. Fred, Abe, and Bunny were the supremes behind the scenes in post-World War II Brooklyn. If there was a good deal to be had in that teeming borough, these three men knew about it. On the hunt in Manhattan, Donald Trump tapped into the Beame machine, but then actually one-upped his father, getting close to the powerful governor of New York, Hugh Carey, who ruled the state from 1975 to 1982. I know how to pull a few strings. Carey even posed for a picture with young Donald standing in front of an architectural drawing on the new Grand Hyatt Hotel, immediately bestowing power on the project. In turn, Donald donated generously to Carey, who enjoyed the many pleasures of Manhattan very much. He did indeed. With all that firepower behind him, Donald Trump decided to launch a blitzkrieg. Tooling around Manhattan in a silver Cadillac with the vanity license plate DJT, Donald John Trump, that's me, he bought a number of expensive properties, including the Bonwit Teller site on Fifth Avenue, which would become ground zero for Trump Tower. Trump was making deals constantly, aided by his own fixer, the much-feared and much-loathed Roy Cohn, the lawyer who had represented the Trumps in the 1973 federal civil rights case. Cohn had put together a vast network of informers, including police commanders, and knew much about the powerful men who ran the city. Donald Trump once told a reporter that Cohn was a bad lawyer, but a genius in getting things done. He is bad, but he is a genius. How he got things done was usually shrouded in secrecy, but one thing was widely known. It would not be wise to cross Roy Cohn. Nope, not a good idea. The short, crude Cohn became a mentor to Donald, second in influence only to his father. My father's the best, period. Cohn once told legendary reporter Cindy Adams that the young Trump would someday rule the city. But instead, I rule the country. By 1980, the Trump Organization was acquiring and building real estate, and ranking in tens of millions of dollars. The Trumps had secured protection and were wired into the Manhattan power structure. Even organized crime, which controlled some of the labor unions in the city, did not interfere with Donald and his dad. They fear me. Deals and offers came quickly across Donald Trump's desk. He rarely missed an opportunity. He was smart, driven, and tough. Tougher even than his father. I am indeed tougher than anyone in New York City. At age 33, Donald Trump began construction on the 68-story Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, helped by a $140 million tax abatement. If you're going to build a skyscraper on one of the most expensive pieces of land on the planet, it helps to have friends in high places before the concrete is poured. And Trump did. Yes, I did. So it is that Donald Trump finds himself a multi-millionaire with a wife, a baby, Donald Jr., born in 1977, and a growing financial empire. He lives lavishly, wanting for nothing in the material world. His skills as a negotiator bring him satisfaction and staggering success. More success than I know what to do with. But there is one thing that Donald Trump does not have. One thing. He is not yet Broadway Joe. National fame still eludes him, and he wants it. I want it so badly I can taste it.